places and give the call to the Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I'm disappointed that the Treasurer isn't here today for this debate on the Australian economy. I don't know why that is. He could be scared, but this is an opportunity for the Treasurer. If he wants to get down here, he can have 10 free minutes talking about himself, showering himself with compliments, which he loves to do, for his staff who are no doubt looking from his parliamentary office. If you can drag him from the bathroom where he's looking at the mirror, blowing kisses to himself, and see if he can come and talk about the Australian economy. It was said that if one learns to love oneself, it begins a lifelong romance. And I dare say the Treasurer on that count is probably the most romantic person in the Parliament, Deputy Speaker. You see, yesterday we had news on inflation, and inflation actually hit the highest rate it has in about 2.5 years, which of course speaks to the pain felt by Australian households and dashes hope for those who are looking to next week's RBA meeting and in the hope that they might get a cut in their cash rate and their interest rate. Now, I thought I'd do the right thing on behalf of the Parliament and the Australian people and ask the Treasurer a question about the inflation rate. You know what he did? He didn't even address it. He talked about himself. He talked about himself. He actually took credit. I've taken this from Hansard. He said that he takes credit, I quote, when things go well in the economy. When things go well in the economy, the Treasurer takes credit. He also said that he takes credit when inflation comes down. But yesterday, Deputy Speaker, inflation did not come down. No. Inflation went up. Inflation went up to 1.3% over the September quarter. That's 3.2% over the year. And this actually breaches the band of the Reserve Bank of Australia. This exceeded the forecasts. This was an absolute miss from what was expected. And it does spell trouble for Australians. Now, this surge in inflation that we saw yesterday, as the ABS delivered the data, is a direct consequence of the Treasurer's spending spree. You only have to look at the data to see that this government is spending out of control. This is the highest spending government in 40 years outside of recession. 40 years. This government has lifted spending as a percentage of GDP from 24% to 27%. Wow. In this financial year alone, Labor is spending an additional $160 billion compared to the Coalition's last budget. $160 billion. On a household level, that equates to around about $16,500 extra this government is spending.
What have we got to show for it?
And what have we got to show for it? Well, a poorer country, a weaker country, and a country that's becoming more dependent on foreign supply chains. I don't know if you knew this, Deputy Speaker, but government spending is growing at 4 times the pace of the Australian economy. Wow. That says it all. And when it comes to debt, as a result of this government spending, an extra $100 billion has been added to the national credit card. So debt's going to hit $1.2 trillion by the time of the next election. Wow. And this government will pretend that's fine. But if you think of the children of Australia, You think of those who are yet to be born and will be citizens of this country. They are the ones who will have to pay for your spending spree. They're the ones who are indebted. Every single minute that goes by, $50,000 gets paid on Labor's debt. $1.2 trillion. And the MPs can laugh, but we are talking about the next generation. You are saddling them with debt. This is more than just an economic argument, Deputy Speaker. There is a moral obligation on those who are in charge of the Treasury benches to not saddle the next generation with debt. And so scoff all you like as a Labor government, but it is the next generation of Australians that the coalition is defending. Now, it might be fair enough to ask, how is it this government has decided just to go and spend? Well, the government has been the beneficiaries of the greatest revenue windfall in the history of Australia, $400 billion. Now, a responsible government would have not done what the Treasurer did, put his hand in the cookie jar and baked in more spending into his budget. But the problem is, once the windfall is over, you've baked in more spending, which is why now we have a problem. Because this government is not only racking up to $1.2 trillion in debt, but its own plan is another decade of deficits. Another decade of deficits. And people keep paying for this. The more you spend, the more you pour money into the economy, prices rise. And that's what we saw in yesterday's figures. It is why the Australian people are the ones who pay. Money is not free. You rack up debt, you run deficits, it comes at a cost. And it's the Australian people who pay. And they know they pay when they go to the supermarket. Food is up by 15%. Australians know they pay when they pay their education fees. Education is up 17%. They know they pay when they look at the housing prices and rent prices, up 17% and 19% respectively. Australians know they pay for Labor's spending spree because insurance costs are up by 37%. And there's one thing Australians really know they pay for, and that's Labor's electricity bills. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Labor actually went to the election before promising a $275 reduction in household power bills. Bills are up over $1,000. In fact, electricity prices have gone up 39% under this government, 39%. Gas, 38%. These are the real-life consequences of Labor's spending spree. And so when you are in the supermarket next and you're saying, my Lord, the prices have gone up, that is due to the Treasurer's spending spree. When you can't pay the school fees, that is due to the Treasurer's spending spree. When you see that you're paying an additional, as an average mortgage holder, an additional $1,800 a month in interest payments, that is due to the Treasurer's spending spree. But in the absence of a revenue windfall, what do you think the Treasurer can now do? There's only one thing he's now thinking about. It starts with T, three-letter word, A-X, tax. We have the Treasurer now gunning for tax. I mean, we knew that because the only plan he had was to tax unrealised capital gains. And I invite all those Labor members who thought that was a good idea just to stand in their places or give us a wave. Whoopsie-daisy, didn't have much support for that. Didn't have much support for that. The taxation of unrealised capital gains, no wonder he got completely rolled. But as a result, of course, he's got a black hole of about $20 billion. And you can be sure of one thing. He's coming after you. He's coming after you with more taxes. We are talking about not just Sir Tax a Lot, but King Tax a Lot. This is the new inflation effect.
Order,
this is what it's all about.
You do not have